Let me ask you something. Have you ever laid awake at night, staring at the ceiling, your mind spinning with all the what-ifs? What if I lose my job? What if my health fails? What if something happens to the people I love? We've all been there. That knot in your stomach, the racing heart, the stories you create in your head that feel so real, it's like they're already happening. But what if I told you this? Worry doesn't actually exist. No, really. It's not real. Not in the way a tree is real. Not in the way a sunrise or your own breath is real. Worry is a mental projection, a trick, a habit of the mind that we've mistaken for truth. Let's pause on that. Because if worry isn't real, if it's something we invent, then what does that mean for how we live? What does it say about the hours, the days, even years we spend stuck in fear over things that haven't happened? Now, I know that might sound too simple or even dismissive. After all, when you're anxious, it feels real, right? But that's the illusion. The mind is an incredible storyteller. It creates entire movies in your head, complete with scenes, characters, dramatic music, and most of it you'll never live through. That's why I want to start this video with something that sounds silly on the surface, but is actually profoundly true. Don't worry, be happy. That's right, the old Bobby McFerrin song. You've probably heard it dozens of times, maybe even laughed at how simple and naive it sounds. But what if I told you it's actually one of the most spiritually accurate things you've ever heard? See, long before that tune hit the radio, Buddhism had been teaching this same idea for over 2,500 years. Not in a superficial way, not like just smile and pretend everything's fine, but in a deeper, more powerful way, that worry is an illusion and peace is always available right now in this very moment. Let's break that down. Worry happens in your mind, not in reality. It's a projection into the future, a series of thoughts about things that might happen or might not. And the thing is, those thoughts don't protect you. They don't prepare you. They only pull you away from what is actually real. This moment. This moment where you're breathing. This moment where you're safe. This moment where the only thing truly happening is life itself. Buddhist philosophy calls this a form of dukkha, a kind of suffering. But here's the twist. It's not suffering caused by life. It's suffering we cause ourselves by believing our thoughts instead of seeing them for what they are. Have you ever watched clouds drift across the sky? Thoughts are like that. They come, they change, and they go. But when we latch on to a fearful thought, when we believe it, suddenly that cloud becomes a storm. And guess what? Most of the time, that storm never even arrives. So today, I want to invite you to step back, not to suppress your worry, not to pretend you're never scared, but to notice something. Worry isn't happening to you. It's happening inside of you. That means you have more power than you think. And that power is called awareness. This video is about more than just reducing stress. It's about shifting the way you relate to your own mind. It's about seeing clearly. That worry doesn't come from your circumstances. It comes from your relationship with uncertainty. We've been taught that worrying means we care, that it's being responsible, that if we worry enough, maybe we can stop bad things from happening. But let's be honest, has worrying ever made you feel more in control? Or has it just made you feel more exhausted, more disconnected, more alone? Worry doesn't give you control. It gives you the illusion of control. And in return, it steals your peace. So if you're here because you've been overwhelmed, if your mind's been racing and your heart's been heavy, I want to tell you, you're not broken, you're not weak, you're just human. And this is the human condition. But there's another way, a path that invites you back into the present, a path that says, yes, life is uncertain, but peace is still possible. That path is mindfulness, and over the next few chapters, we're going to walk that path together. We'll uncover why worry arises, how it tricks you, and most importantly, how to let it go. So stay with me, because if you truly absorb this, if you practice it, not just hear it, it might just change the way you see everything. Not with more fear, but with more freedom. Let's begin. What is worry? The suffering we create ourselves. So let's get honest for a second. How many times have you played out the worst-case scenario in your mind? long before anything bad actually happened. You're lying in bed, it's quiet, but your thoughts are loud. You're thinking about a conversation you haven't had yet, a bill that hasn't arrived, or a diagnosis you might get someday. And suddenly you're not just thinking, you're worrying. Your body tightens. Your breath gets shallow. Your mind has fast-forwarded into a future that hasn't happened and might never happen. That's worry. Worry is not a reaction to what is. It's a story about what might be. And the truth is, that story usually comes from fear, not fact. Now, Buddhism has a powerful word for this kind of mental suffering, dukkha. It doesn't just mean pain. It means the kind of suffering we create when we resist reality or cling to what we can't control. In other words, worry isn't something life gives us. It's something we give ourselves. Let that sink in for a moment, because most of us grow up believing that worry is just part of being a responsible adult. That if we don't worry, it means we don't care. Or worse, that something bad will happen because we didn't worry enough. But here's the paradox. Worry doesn't prevent suffering. It adds to it. And Buddhism explains this beautifully with a metaphor I've never forgotten. Imagine this. You're walking through a forest, and suddenly you're hit by an arrow. It's painful, it's real, and there's no question that it hurts. That arrow, that's life. Illness, heartbreak, job loss, grief. It happens to all of us, and we can't always avoid it. But then instead of tending to the wound, we take another arrow, and we stab ourselves with it. That second arrow? That's worry. That's rumination, regret, fear of the future, replaying the past. The first arrow was inevitable, but the second, that one was optional. And yet we do it all the time, don't we? We rehearse tragedy before it even happens. We try to control the uncontrollable. We obsess over outcomes we can't guarantee. Why? Because deep down we think if we prepare enough, if we anticipate every possible twist and turn, we'll be safe. But that's an illusion. You see, worry gives us the feeling of control, but not the reality of it. It's like sitting in a rocking chair. It keeps you busy, but it gets you nowhere. And what fuels this endless cycle? In Buddhism, one of the root causes is called upadana, or attachment. We cling to the idea that things should go a certain way. We grip tightly to people, outcomes, and expectations. And the tighter we grip, the more afraid we become of losing. That fear becomes worry, and that worry becomes a prison. But here's the thing. The Buddha didn't teach that we should stop caring. He taught that we should stop clinging. Because when we cling, we confuse love with possession. We confuse preparation with panic. And we confuse control with safety. You don't have to give up your goals or your relationships, but you do have to loosen your grip, because the more you resist change, the more you suffer. Think about it. Have you ever had something go exactly the way you planned it, forever? Of course not. Everything changes. That's not a bug in the system. It is the system. So what do? We start by recognizing that worry lives in the future, but life only happens now. The more we feed those future-based fears, the more we miss what's real right in front of us. And what's real is often much less terrifying than the movie in our mind. So next time you feel that wave of worry rise, ask yourself, am I reacting to reality or to a thought? Is this the first arrow or the second? That simple pause, that breath of awareness can change everything. Because once you see worry for what it is, a habit, not a truth, you can start to step out of it. You can choose presence over panic. You can choose breath over spiraling thoughts. And you can choose to face the future, not with fear, but with freedom. And that choice? That's where healing begins. Let's keep walking this path together. The mind's trap, how we create our own suffering. Let's talk about something most of us never question, the stories we tell ourselves. From the moment we wake up, our mind is busy. It's narrating everything, what we need to do, what might go wrong, what someone might be thinking, what we should have said yesterday, what could happen tomorrow. It's like having a 24/7 talk show host in your head, only this one loves drama, fears the unknown, and rarely shuts up. Now, here's the problem. Most of us believe these thoughts, not just listen to them, we identify with them. We assume, if I think it, it must be true. But the truth? Your thoughts aren't facts. They're just mental events, like clouds passing through the sky. That mass, yet when we cling to them, especially the fearful ones, we suffer. Not because life is unbearable, but because we've made a prison out of our own mind. Buddhism has a word for this never-ending loop of thoughts, reactions, desires, and fear. It's called samsara, the cycle of suffering. A loop powered by three engines: craving, aversion, and ignorance. Craving tells you, I need more to be happy. Aversion says, this shouldn't be happening to me. And ignorance, it whispers, this thought is who I am. But you are not your thoughts. Let me give you a simple example, one you've probably lived through. Imagine you're waiting for a message. It could be from someone you love, your boss, a friend. An hour passes. 2 hours. Still no reply. Your mind starts spinning. Did I say something wrong? Maybe they're upset. What if something bad happened? And before you know it, your heart's racing. You feel rejected, anxious, upset all over a message that hasn't even come. Here's the catch. Nothing has actually happened. No one said anything. No crisis occurred. Just your mind telling stories. And you believed them. This is how suffering is born. Not from reality, but from the way we interpret it. That's why Buddhism doesn't say, stop thinking. It says, observe the mind, don't obey it. There's a powerful practice called vipassana, which means clear seeing. It's the art of watching your thoughts without reacting. When a fear-based thought arises, instead of spiraling with it, you pause. You notice, this is fear, this is anxiety. You name it gently. You don't wrestle it. You just see it. And the moment you see it clearly, you're no longer inside the story. You've stepped out. You've created space. And in that space, there's peace. There's freedom. There's choice. Because most of our suffering doesn't come from what's happening. It comes from the speed with which our mind reacts to what's happening. You feel a moment of discomfort, and your mind rushes in to label it. This is bad. This means I failed. This always happens to me. But those labels, they're optional. Here's something the Buddha taught using a simple, earthy image. He compared the untrained mind to a wild elephant. It's big, powerful, and chaotic. It crashes through your life, making messes, causing fear. But with gentle training, with mindfulness and kindness, you begin to tame the elephant. Not with force, not with shame, but with attention. You start recognizing your patterns. You stop getting dragged by every thought. And slowly, you lead your mind instead of being led by it. And let me tell you, because you are. You're here. You're safe. And you're stronger than your mind's stories. Let's keep going. Together. Living in the present. The real antidote. Let me ask you something simple. Where are you right now? I don't mean your location. I mean your mind. Is it here with me? Or is it already jumping ahead? To the to-do list? To a conversation you're dreading? To the uncertainty of next week, next month, next year? You see, anxiety doesn't live in the present moment. It lives in the future, in all the imagined what-ifs that pull us away from now. And the truth is, we spend most of our lives somewhere else. We walk, but we don't notice our steps. We eat, but we're scrolling our phones. We listen, but we're already crafting our reply. We're here, but not really. And that's exactly where suffering begins. Buddhism teaches something incredibly simple, yet radically powerful. Suffering happens when we leave the present. Peace returns when we come back. Now I know just be present sounds like advice printed on a coffee mug. But it's not fluff. It's freedom. Because when we return to this moment, fully, completely, the mental noise softens, the chaos fades, and something deep within us relaxes. Let me give you an example. Have you ever had a moment, maybe while watching the sunrise, or hearing your child laugh, or simply sipping your coffee slowly? Because you are. You're here. You're safe. And you're stronger than your mind's stories. Let's keep going. Together. Living in the present. The real antidote. Let me ask you something simple. Where are you right now? I don't mean your location. I mean your mind. Is it here with me, or is it already jumping ahead? To the to-do list? To a conversation you're dreading? To the uncertainty of next week, next month, next year? You see, anxiety doesn't live in the present moment. It lives in the future, in all the imagined what-ifs that pull us away from now. And the truth is, we spend most of our lives somewhere else. We walk, but we don't notice our steps. We eat, but we're scrolling our phones. We listen, but we're already crafting our reply. We're here, but not really. And that's exactly where suffering begins. Buddhism teaches something incredibly simple, yet radically powerful. Suffering happens when we leave the present. Peace returns when we come back. Now I know just be present sounds like advice printed on a coffee mug, but it's not fluff. It's freedom. Because when we return to this moment, fully, completely, the mental noise softens, the chaos fades, and something deep within us relaxes. Let me give you an example. Have you ever had a moment, maybe while watching the sunrise, or hearing your child laugh, or simply sipping your coffee slowly? You don't need to sit in silence for 30 minutes a day to be mindful. You just need to show up, moment by moment. Even one breath, one step, one pause can shift everything. I'll be honest, this isn't always easy, especially when life feels chaotic, uncertain, overwhelming. But that's exactly when presence becomes your superpower, because it brings you back from the edge, back from fear, back from the stories your mind is writing about a future that doesn't exist yet. And the more you practice, gently, kindly, without guilt, the stronger that skill becomes. So, here's something you can try right now. Take a breath. Just one. Feel it enter your body. Feel it leave. You don't need to fix anything. You don't need to solve all your problems in this moment. Just be here. This is where your life is happening. Not in the regrets of yesterday, not in the worries of tomorrow, but in this simple, ordinary, extraordinary moment. And when you return to it, even for a second, you touch something sacred, something peaceful, something that says, right now, I'm safe. Right now, I'm enough. This is the real antidote to anxiety. Not control, not certainty, presence. So next time your mind starts spinning, when your chest tightens and the fear begins to rise, pause. Place a hand over your heart. Feel your breath and whisper to yourself, I'm here. I'm safe. I'm okay. Because the present moment isn't just where peace lives. It's where you live. Let's practice returning again and again together. Trusting life, the art of letting go. Let me ask you something that might hit close to home. Have you ever felt like if you stopped worrying, everything would fall apart? That if you loosened your grip, even just a little, something bad would happen? That if you didn't plan every detail, fix every problem, and prepare for every worst-case scenario, you'd be left behind or left exposed? You're not alone. Most of us carry this belief quietly, like a weight on our shoulders. But what if I told you that this need to control, this constant planning, fixing, managing, might actually be the thing that's exhausting you, not protecting you? Letting go sounds easy, but let's be real, it's one of the hardest things we'll ever do. Because deep down, letting go feels like risk. It feels like surrender. And in a world that praises hustle, independence, and staying in control, surrender often gets mistaken for weakness. But Buddhism teaches something radically different, something beautifully freeing. The more we cling, the more we suffer. We cling to people, to outcomes, to timelines. We cling to who we think we should be, what we think we should have, how we think life should look. And when reality doesn't match that picture, we tense up, we resist, we worry, and slowly we lose our peace. Here's a perspective that changed everything for me, and maybe it will for you too. Look at nature. A tree doesn't panic when it loses its leaves. It lets go, season after season, trusting they will return when it's time. A river doesn't try to control its path. It flows, curves, adapts. It keeps moving forward even when rocks get in the way. A bird doesn't fear the wind. It opens its wings and lets the air carry it. There is trust built into the fabric of nature, and we are part of that same nature. But somewhere along the way, we forgot. We started believing that if we didn't hold everything together, relationships, careers, appearances, then everything would fall apart. But the truth is, life was never meant to be controlled. It was meant to be lived. And trusting life doesn't mean we stop caring. It doesn't mean we become passive or irresponsible. It means we stop gripping so tightly that we forget to breathe. It means we align ourselves with the flow of what is, instead of fighting it endlessly with what should be. Letting go is not about giving up. It's about showing up differently. It's about saying, I will give my best, but I will not destroy my peace trying to control what I cannot. Think about a moment when life threw you a curveball, something unexpected, uncertain. Maybe it was a job loss, a breakup, a medical scare. At first it was terrifying, but then, somehow you found your way through. Maybe you even grew because of it. That's the beauty of trust. It doesn't guarantee ease, but it gives you the courage to face what comes without collapsing under fear. And the truth is, you've already done this many times. You've survived things you once thought you couldn't, and you'll do it again. So how do we begin to trust? Start small. Next time you feel yourself tensing up, your shoulders tight, your breath shallow, pause. Ask yourself, what am I holding on to right now? What am I afraid will happen if I let go? Just a little, and then let go. Just a little. Take a breath. Loosen your grip. See what happens. Maybe nothing falls apart. Maybe something beautiful begins to shift. Maybe you begin to shift. Because when you stop trying to control everything, you make room for something else. Presence, clarity, and freedom. You begin to trust that life will meet you where you are, that you can handle what comes, that you are not alone in the flow of it all. Letting go isn't a one-time decision. It's a practice, a choice you make again and again, every time fear knocks at the door. And with every breath, every pause, every gentle act of surrender, you come home to yourself. You return to the place where peace isn't earned, it's remembered. Where safety isn't found in certainty, it's found in trust. So today, I invite you to take one small step. Let something go, a thought, a fear, an outcome. Not because you've given up, but because you're finally waking up. And that, right there, is the real art of living. Let's keep walking this path of trust together. Conclusion, returning to now, living free. So here we are. We've walked through the roots of worry, the stories our mind tells, the trap of overthinking and the power of presence. But now it all leads here, to the moment you're in, right now. Let me say this clearly, worry disconnects us from reality. But peace is always found in the present. And that phrase you've probably heard 100 times, don't worry, be happy. It's not just a catchy tune. It's wisdom, deep, ancient wisdom. Because it's not saying your problems don't matter. It's not ignoring pain or pretending life is always sunshine. It's inviting you to remember something powerful. That happiness is not found by fixing the future. It's found by returning to now. Right here, right where your feet are, right in this breath. See, Buddhism doesn't teach us to escape life. It doesn't ask us to shut down, deny, or suppress what's real. It actually does the opposite. It calls us to wake up to life, to see it fully, clearly, with both strength and softness. That includes the joy and the mess, the wins and the wounds, the stillness and the chaos. It teaches us to stop chasing what might be and to start embracing what already is. Because the truth is, you don't need to control everything to feel at peace. You don't need every answer, every plan, or every step mapped out. You just need one thing: presence. And you've already taken a powerful step in that direction by watching this, by pausing, by choosing to listen to something quieter than your fear. That means something. That means you're already on the path. And the path? It doesn't require perfection. It only asks for presence. So the next time your thoughts start spinning, when the noise in your head drowns out the peace in your heart, pause, just for a second. Place a hand on your chest. Take a slow, deep breath and remind yourself, right now, I'm safe. Right now, I'm here. And right now, that's enough. You don't need to fix your whole life in one day. You just need to come back to this one moment. Again and again. That's where freedom lives. That's where peace breathes. And that's where you'll find yourself again, not lost in thought, but grounded in truth. So as we wrap up this journey together, I'll leave you with this. You don't have to chase happiness. You don't have to earn peace. It's already here, beneath the noise, beneath the fear. And the doorway to it is always open. It opens every time you choose presence over panic, clarity over chaos, trust over control. Keep returning, keep breathing, keep walking this path, because the life you're looking for, it's not out there somewhere, it's right here, and so are you. If this message resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear this. Comment below, what's one painful moment that helped you grow? If this touched you, subscribe. Let's keep walking together.